Wolfchase Toyota Insider of the Memphis Tiger Network. I'm Jeff Brightwell alongside Daron Schoenrock, and hard to believe you're only 3 weeks or so away from getting the season started. You guys, I talked to Natalie Poole earlier, the softball, baseball programs have been fortunate this winter as you've had a relatively mild winter, so I'm sure you've been able to get outside quite a bit.
Yeah, it's been real beneficial. You know, some years you hardly ever get out, and this year we've been out quite a bit, Jeff. We were able to do what we call skill work sessions up until the 23rd when official team practice starts. When a lot of those skill work sessions were outdoors, and so guys, you know, they've had the new spikes in the dirt, and then the way we structure the fall, where we don't finish until very late, so there's really not a lot of unfamiliar guys with the game right now. We didn't finish fall until around November 20th, so I like where we are from the standpoint of getting on the field.
Talk about that field. You guys have a new infield, put some new clay down. Any other amenities you might notice when you got FedEx Park this year?
That's probably the main thing now, is improving the surface a little bit. Ben Waite's crew does a phenomenal job. Just, you know, the grass is emerald green and very plush, and he's got a passion for making our facility better every day, and they do a great job with that, and we're fortunate to have them.
Coming off a fourth straight 31 year that hasn't been done since the early 80s here at Memphis.
Well, it's you know, we've kind of grown this roster up. There's a lot of guys that are seniors on this roster that have logged a lot of time in since their freshman year, and they were good players. Now I think they're ready to take that next step now, and you know, experience on both sides of the ball it's probably the highest amount of experience that we've had in the pitching staff and in the hitting in the same year. So we're going to see if we can take that 30-plus win and take that next step.
Of course, Cade will be what I would imagine be your Friday night ace this year. What else does the rotation look like?
You know, Colin Lee has looked very, very sharp preseason. Coming off of that, he had a little bit of a minor elbow clean out in the fall, but he's back to full strength now. Alex Gunn returns after missing a whole year with Tommy John, and has looked good at times, as you'd expect. You know, a year out of Tommy John, he's looked some days very good, and some days, you know, still battling that rehab process. Dylan Toscano had some labrum issues in his hip that he got fixed, and he looks very sharp in preseason now. Maybe a senior that's willing, you know, got some midweek opportunities last year, pitched a great game against Vandy, has some chances to make some noise. Then we have two freshmen that are vying, Connor Alexander and Colton Hathcock, that are both going to see significant time this year as freshmen that have been very good in preseason.
I would say offhand, the strength of this ball club this year will probably be your outfield. You've got all returning guys at outfield. The infield, you've got to make a lot of moves out there because you lost 3 of your infielders, but your outfield should be very strong.
Yeah, we're going to count on those guys heavily. You know, and it's a real capable offensive outfield that now is you know, just been very impressed with how we've been defending the field. Kane Barrow has settled into being a very good college left fielder now, where, you know, a year ago he had some deficiencies defensively, and he's addressed those. And Darion's playing with a lot of confidence in center from day one of the fall, and then, you know, Jake Little emergence as an everyday right fielder last year. After we solidified a position with him, he ended up being one of our top offensive players. So we're going to expect a lot from those guys out there. And Chris Carrier is going to have something to say about those guys. He got a lot of meaningful at-bats, a lot of tough at-bats last year against closers late in the game, pinch hits, and now he'll get a little bit more, you know, he'll get a little bit more comfortable at-bats under his belt this year as possibly a DH or pinch hitting earlier in the game.
Coach, talking about the non-conference schedule, you're home and home with Ole Miss. State will be here at AutoZone Park. You have the home and home in the minor league ballparks with Arkansas here.
You know, about every third year, Coach Van Horn and I decide to do that series with Arkansas, and it's not something that I'm committed to doing every year. But this is the kind of the year we haven't done it since 2011, I think, and Dave and I talked, and it's time. You know, we'll play in front of somewhere in the neighborhood of about 16 to 17,000 people in 2 nights, and anytime we can get our kids in that environment, we want to do it. And you know, they're coming off a phenomenal year. They you know, he's elevated that program where they're an Omaha caliber team every year, and it gives our Tiger fans another chance to get down to AutoZone Park, and 3 opportunities this year, and it's included in the season ticket package, so it's a really good season ticket.
You're going to open up the season here pretty soon. The 13th to the 15th of February, you're going to go over to Tulsa, face Oral Roberts for the weekend.
Program with a lot of tradition,
Yeah.
a lot of history, and we're educating our team every day on that now. A lot of draft picks, a lot of guys sprinkled around the big leagues. It's a program that, you know, that the baseball is a very, very integral part of that campus, and the coaching that has come before and the players that have come before. It's been a perennial regional team, and actually it's been a team that has been knocking on the door of Omaha a few times. So I wanted to take this experienced team we have on the road. We're going on the road actually the first 2 weekends to get 2 road series out of the way. So a little different. We haven't opened on the road in a long time, but we have enough experience on both sides of the ball to do that.
The American Conference this year, again, it kind of tweaks a little bit with Louisville leaving, so a World Series team is gone, but you're going to add East Carolina's back in the fold, Tulane's back in the fold, and both teams with new head coaches, and they can get those things, especially Tulane, with Pierce being a Rice guy. Both of those programs could make a swing very quick.
You know, I expect Tulane to elevate very quickly with David. You know, he's got some access to some things, scholarship-wise, academic scholarship-wise, that are going to open the door to get tremendous players back in there. You know, and they play in a beautiful ballpark, and just the revitalization of the area of New Orleans since the hurricane has kind of paralleled that baseball program. It was going great, and then they've had a hard time. Now they're starting to resurge, and David will do a good job with that. And then of course, you know, it's a program that's been to Omaha a few times, and then East Carolina, you know, with Cliff there now, he's got access to a lot of great things in that state. Very big fish in a small pond. You know, they draw extremely well. They got a beautiful place to play. It'll be a challenge to have both those schools in the league.
I had a super regional team, and well, UCF was one of the last 4 left out last year. They had a really good team. This could be another multiple bid league this year.
It should be another multiple bid league. Very experienced rosters in the league, and you know, I think Houston coming back brings back a ton of guys from that team that was really a few outs away from Omaha, and so they'll be, you know, I think they're going to be obviously at the top of the league, and then the next 7 slots are all going to be battles, and it's just going to come down to who can stay healthy. I think, you know, depth is always something we fight in college baseball, but you know, and we're probably a little more equipped now on the mound with depth than we've had in the past. You know, you can't sustain too many injuries, so staying healthy is huge. Using your experience to go handle things on the road, I think, is big too. How are we going to handle things on the road?
All right, Coach, finally, before you get started, you'll have an interesting and fun night the 7th of February over at FedEx Park. You're going to have a roast of Coach Kilpatrick.
You know, we wanted to do something to honor Coach K, and we have our own version of Coach K at Memphis, and that's who it is. But he, you know, the winningest all-time baseball coach here, and I didn't want, in my tenure here, having as a player competing against Memphis, and then as a young coach going through the ranks as an assistant at various places, always coming back and playing, you know, Memphis State at that time. That was the one constant that you always had Coach K in that dugout leading the charges. And so we've got about 7 or 8 former players of his, and it's spanning a career spanning from 72 to 92, that are going to get up and share stories, and some will be funny, and Coach K gets the last word, so he said it's open game, and then when he gets the mic, you know, but it's another way to reach out to former players, and I want my guys, my current players, to always see who came before them. I think understanding the history of a place is huge, and I've tried to hammer that home with our players to really make them feel like they're part of something, and they're creating history every day. So this is a chance for them to sit back and see a lot of guys that have come before them talk about a guy that was a great leader and a great man.
And then go to GoTigersGo.com on the baseball page. You get information about that.
Info about that there, and register, and it's a very inexpensive ticket, and a lot of neat stories are going to be shared that night.
All right, Coach, as always, we appreciate it, and the season will be here pretty soon.
Thanks, Jeff.
Head Coach Daron Schoenrock, I'm Jeff Brightwell for the Wolfchase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network.